everyone, I hope you are all well. Today's video is going to be a continuation of the Ryanair Flight Attendant series, and today I'm actually going to be reading Indeed reviews or reading online reviews. I'll start with Indeed. I'm going to be reading reviews and confirming if they are true or not, because as you know, I was a flight attendant for Ryanair, so I'm just gonna jump straight in, okay? So the first one I'm getting from Indeed, and the title is Not for Everybody. This one was left in September 2019. Well, as a cabin crew, you are exposed to a lot of pressure. Money is good depending on the base you are located at, and chances of climbing is also related to the base you are in. However, you rest a lot and work very little hours for good money. Pros: little work hours. Cons: randomness of the base. 2 people confirmed the review was helpful and 1 person said it was not helpful. So this is just the top review out of 433, and it's just the one like right at the top. So the first point is you are exposed to a lot of pressure. That I can confirm is true, in the sense that you definitely need to make sure you're on time. If you are a minute or so late, then you run the risk of not being able to fly. You do have to be ready for the pre-flight test, because every briefing before your flight, before you start your day of work, you have a briefing and you basically need to answer 1 safety and 1 security question. Usually it's not everybody who answers, because if you're a team of 4 cabin crew, the cabin supervisor will ask the question. One of the 3 other cabin crew need to answer. They might ask you 1 question about first aid, and then maybe 1 question about security in the cabin and securing the cabin. I guess it's pressure in that sense, as in you need to kind of make sure you kind of have a few drills on deck in your mind before you get to work. I guess it's pressure because you need to make sure that you're always fully groomed. You need to make sure that you have always a manicure. A lot of pressure in that sense. Somebody did actually ask me the question, is there pressure to make sales? And yes, number 1, like the cabin supervisors usually climb the rankings, usually get to that position through making a lot of sales. So for them, pressure is on, because if you get good sales, then maybe they might reward you by giving you your base that you want. They might reward you by giving you a contract, a Ryanair contract, because you might not know this, but not everybody is employed directly under Ryanair. Irish companies which have been set up in Ireland, so the profits of Ryanair's business all go back into the country, back into Ireland. It says money is good. I wouldn't say that money is necessarily good, but for example, if there's 1 month that you don't fly a lot, you still get the same pay, the same base pay, but then you might not get the flight hours pay. And so in that sense, that if you have an easy month, the pay is good. Chances of climbing is also related to the base. True. Course instructor told me that at her base, I think she said there've been people there for literally decades. Nobody wants to leave their base, which makes it really hard for juniors to get transferred there. So people can literally be on the waiting list to transfer to that specific base for literally years. Anytime you fly, they always assign you to your position according to your ranking. Your ranking is determined by how long you've been in the company. In order to become a cabin supervisor, you do need to take on further training. Some people actually refuse that ranking. The money is good depending on the base you're located at. I believe that's true, because certain countries are cheaper to live in than others. For example, if you're living in Spain, the rent there can be pretty cheap. I've heard. I haven't actually done my research and confirmed this, but from what I've been told, in Spain, the cost of living is pretty low. So if you're working there with a Ryanair contract and you just stay there, your salary keeps increasing and you keep going up in the ranks, yeah, it can be okay. Maybe not compared to like typical jobs, but for the work you do, you might find that actually this is a pretty decent job. You'll be able to save, therefore the money kind of seems to be good. Another thing is, on Wings Day, we all received our contracts and we were all comparing the base pay of the annual salary, and the Berlin base had the highest salary. So if you guys are interested in knowing how much a Ryanair flight attendant makes, especially a junior flight attendant, then let me know so I can make that video. And then if you are considering this job, then you'll know the truth about the reality of a Ryanair flight attendant's money. If I remember correctly, I believe the lowest base pay was in the UK and also in Brussels. And again, let me know if you'd be interested in me sharing a few details about the contract and the pay structure. The next one is 2 stars out of 5, and the title is Not Productive and Not Fun Workplace, from a former employee. They are mean to you and it's unfair for girls wearing skirts, particularly in the winter. They have very strange beauty requirements. They care about how nice your nails look, and if you're female, your hair must be perfect. But this is not the same for everyone. Okay, I think I get exactly what this person means. The first part of this review says they are mean to you and it's unfair for girls wearing skirts, particularly in the winter, because the girls do not have an option to wear trousers in the winter, and the men are able to wear trousers, of course. The uniform is pretty limited. It's not like, for example, EasyJet that have a trouser option, a dress option, a skirt option. The girls simply just wear a skirt, typically short sleeve shirt up to the elbows. Only if you have tattoos you get a long sleeve shirt. And then of course there is the blazer. What I used to do is I used to wear a wool cardigan underneath. That was actually from my old workplace. That thing honestly was a lifesaver. That wool cardigan, I think I still have it actually. It was a button up in the front. Honestly, it was a lifesaver in the winter. And it's true, they do make girls wear skirts, but that's because that's the only uniform that they give you. I'm sure if they were to increase the budget and maybe progress, they would start allowing women to wear trousers. I really don't think that will happen. This problem is kind of resolved in the winter by them allowing you to wear long black boots. However, that's only for a specific period. I don't know the start date, but I think the end date is the 31st of March. If they see you with boots on, they will literally tell you that, sorry, you cannot wear your boots. Even though it's freezing cold at 4 a.m. in the morning, they still expect you to just walk to work in heels. They really don't want you wearing your boots. Even walking into the airport terminal, they will literally tell you to remove your boots. It's really not fair because it's cold. If you're not familiar with the flight attendant's uniform, you do have to wear, I think it's like 15 denier tights, and these are super thin tights. Imagine waking up, going out into the world at 3:30, 4 a.m. in the morning, trying to get to work, and you've only got 15 denier tights on. It's really difficult. Thankfully, I'm not the kind of person who gets that cold in my legs. For me, it's all about like I need to protect my chest area so that I don't get a cold. But even when it comes to wearing scarves, as a flight attendant, especially in this company, they do have some strict requirements. I definitely agree with that statement about like the winter. It can be pretty difficult for people who get cold in the legs. Those boots were a lifesaver to me when it was freezing cold outside. About the scarves, you are allowed to wear a black scarf, but it needs to be tucked underneath your jacket. And the jackets that they give you, again, they are problematic. They are really extremely thin. They are basically plastic. I think they're about 1 millimeter thick, bright yellow. I wore mine through the winter season through to spring. I just lay it up. I usually like to put a vest underneath my shirt and the wool cardigan over my shirt, then the blazer, and then a scarf, a thick black scarf, and then that plastic jacket. I had gloves as well, and so that really helped. They also do sell a winter jacket, but they're not always in stock, so you do have to plan ahead for that. If you plan on, you know, staying in the job for a while, just make sure you do try to order your winter jacket kind of as soon as possible, and when you leave you can always sell it to one of your colleagues. I didn't actually order a winter jacket. They charge you, I think it's 50 euros for the winter jacket. It's a 2-layer jacket. There's a fleece inside, and then there's the jacket itself, and it actually does have a hood to it, and so they are a bit biased when it comes to allowing you to wear that stuff. They allow you to wear the winter jacket through other seasons, yet they don't allow you to wear winter boots. It's a bit weird. I wore my winter boots after the 1st of April to work because because I didn't exactly remember that we're not supposed to, or that I didn't see that in the grooming manual. It's not easy to remember every single detail. So I wore them after the 1st of April, and then the base supervisor told me that I was not allowed to wear them, but then it's still cold. But winter jackets were apparently still allowed, and so I definitely think it's unfair in that sense. This comment also says they care about how nice your nails look, and if you are female, your hair must be perfect. Well, yeah, your nails do have to be manicured. You can just paint your nails yourself. Of course, these ones do tend to get ruined quite easily, or you can go to a nail salon and get them done. In the start, I was painting them myself, but after a couple of weeks, I just started to go to the nail salon because it just lasts longer. It just saves me time in the mornings. It's honestly just the best solution. I really felt like I could go to most places and have a nice job done in Berlin. For the local nail salons, you're paying something like 25 to 28 euros, but I was happy with it. I remember one time I went into Kaufland. There's a nail parlor inside the same place that lady told me that, you know, this is not Africa. She did ombre nails for me. The comment also says if you're female, your hair has to be perfect. I wouldn't say that your hair has to be perfect because I came across many people who didn't have perfect hair. So your hair definitely doesn't have to be perfect, but it has to be what their idea of perfect is. I think my idea of perfect is just neat, put together, looks great, and suits you. That to me is just like, that is perfect. It's impossible for everybody to have perfect hair. Anyway, I think what they mean is it has to be styled the way they want it. So you either have to have a donut bun, or you have to have like a simple ponytail. I don't think I even had perfect hair when I was there, even though they told me that the wig was perfect, you know, hair which is not even mine. I guess a lot of people do feel the pressure of the nails and the hair and everything, but I honestly think if you have like more Caucasian hair, you will have an easier time because you're literally working with your own hair and your hair is more universally accepted. Whereas if you have Afro hair, I think you would have a bit of a harder time because they won't allow you to do protective styles like braids. This hair is definitely not allowed. As a flight attendant, you need to have either a wig that looks like white hair. They did have a problem with these braids because I think they were a bit too long, number one. Black hair in twists, they thought it was dreadlocks. They just typically just don't allow it because they don't have that many black people there, and so there's not really enough people to fight for it, even though it's pretty normal in the black community to actually have braids. We've been doing this for years. For us, this is just normal. It's just normal hair, so I don't really understand why it's unacceptable. But this is not the same for everyone. I think what they mean is sometimes they might tell one person that their hair needs to be a certain way, but they won't tell another person. They might pick and choose who they are strict with, and by they, I just mean the cabin supervisor and the base supervisor. They might pick on one person more than they pick on the other. I kind of guess that's what they mean. So the next review is titled Do Not Apply, and this review was given 1 star. If you want to become cabin crew, keep applying for other airlines until you get it, but forget about Ryanair. The worst choice ever. Really, really bad salary, very bad treatment, no respect at all, nothing good to mention. Don't apply, you will regret immediately. Okay, so this one was actually left on the 24th of February 2020, this year, and it seems as though this person was based in Stansted. If you want to become cabin crew, keep applying for other airlines until you get it, but forget about Ryanair. If you apply for Ryanair and you get it, you do the training, and you really want to be a cabin crew, I think Ryanair can be a really, really great stepping stone to push your career. Some people do apply to Ryanair on purpose because they like that steady schedule. They like the predictability of it. Maybe they feel like they can get their base, or they know somebody in the company who can assign them to the base once they join. People do apply for that predictability and stability. I would say definitely keep applying for other airlines, because once you have this training, I think you'll be a much better candidate in your other applications. I did have a friend who started with Ryanair and then she got a job with another airline, and she was like the perfect candidate for them, and she found herself really, really happy with the other airline. So I definitely say that if you want to become a cabin crew, you can start with Ryanair. This training that you do with Ryanair will put you in a really good position to move on to other airlines. Obviously, if you're happy once you do join the company, once you are a cabin crew for Ryanair, you can stay. But if you really want to become a cabin crew for another airline, just keep applying for other places, because because I know the training with Ryanair will put you at an advantage to other people, and you'll also already have, you know, that attestation, which lasts, I think, is it 5 years? Yeah. This review also says, forget about Ryanair. I guess they had a bad experience. Like, to be honest, I would say, like, I'm the kind of person who I do like to take advantage of this, you know, the situation. I think a lot of people think it's the worst airline ever, and that's because there are no benefits. And like, I'm going to talk about the pros and the cons of working for them, and you can make a decision for yourself, but I'm not just going to throw statements like worst airline ever, oh my god, it's the worst ever, because some people, believe it or not, some people actually enjoy working for this airline because it gives them stability, predictability, especially if they have families, and they've worked their way up to a position where now they are actually living the life that they want in the base that they want. Because it really does matter. If you have a good base, then you really could enjoy the job. But at the same time, if you don't have a good base, whew, people say that Stansted is not a great base, it's not a good place to be, but I feel like if I was in London, I definitely would have tried to stay a bit longer, but they couldn't even give me that. They just throw you out to random bases, random locations, and expect you to just make it home without any assistance whatsoever. But I'll talk about that more. Really, really bad salary. I think the salary is just minimum wage. I wouldn't say it's good, but I would say it's a survival salary. This review also says no respect at all. Yeah, some people do really lack respect. People are more harsh and mean in this kind of environment. That's just something that I noticed while on the job. Some people are just naturally mean, naturally frustrated, angry, annoyed, and they can just really be rude and mean for no reason. That's just something that I found, but I'm not sure if they're talking about the staff or the colleagues. But yeah, I would say that's fairly true. It says also nothing good to mention. That is also understandable. Is there anything good I have to mention? I would say it's all about your personal experience. If you have something good to mention, then definitely leave it in the comments. If you are ex-staff or you want to be a Ryanair employee in the future, what's your motivation for doing it? That would be good to see, but nothing really stands out to me when I think about it. I would say the experience in general was really enlightening. It was really a good peek inside the aviation industry. I like the fact that I met people, I made friends there. That was also nice, but nothing really particularly good to report. I guess that's quite a bit of a personal thing, because some people have written 4-star reviews. Okay, so this review was written in Portuguese. I'm gonna say in English. The title is "It was a beautiful season, a unique experience with its ups and downs, but always advisable for those who like to travel and meet other people." So there you go. There is a positive review. Okay, I'm gonna read 2 more reviews and then I'm gonna be done. This one has 3 stars. Ryanair is a good place to start working as a flight attendant. It is easy to get chosen, but the overall job is stressful. The working hours, the non-paid duties that sometimes we do, the rules, and sometimes, I guess this person means failing, of not being considered important. Oh yes, actually, that is true. I can confirm that. Ryanair is a good place to start. I already talked about it. It's easy to get chosen. Yes, that's very true. As I told you, the assessment day, almost everybody got chosen apart from 3 people. The job overall is stressful. Yeah, I do agree. It can be stressful, especially if you're working with stress heads, with stressful people. They're sending you here, sending you there in the cabin, and they're just not very understanding. Taking care of the customers, taking care of the passengers, that can be a bit stressful as well. People sometimes can be demanding. And then the working hours, that is true. The working hours are pretty difficult. Imagine having to set your alarm for 2:30 in the morning to get ready and leave the house at 3:30, get to work at 4:30, 5 for the briefing, and then start flying 45 minutes later. The hours can be pretty stressful. Non-paid duties that we sometimes do. Yes, there are a lot of non-paid duties on the ground when you are delayed, not being considered important. That is actually quite true. You could be working for the company for years and they still don't give you a base transfer to the country or the base that you want to be sent to. Yeah, that can be quite frustrating. They don't really take each individual person's case as important. One more review. So this one has 1 star and it's titled "Terrible" with a full stop at the end. And this cabin crew is a former employee from the Luton base. Wouldn't recommend this to anyone. Spent 1 year in the company and it was more than enough. All they care about is sales and money. You can only call in sick 3 times per year, which is insane. Imagine you wear tights, heels, skirts, and not even a a proper jacket. You only get a raincoat, even in winter. And if you get a winter jacket, you need to purchase it for $40. Obviously, you get sick a lot. If you call more than 3 times, they keep threatening you and calling you for meetings. Worst airline company, worst conditions for employees. Do not apply. I like this review because it really summarizes a lot of things. I think other reviews have focused on one thing or the other. This one actually has given you a lot of detail. So I'm gonna break this down and this will be the final review. Wouldn't recommend this to anyone. Spent 1 year in the company and it was more than enough. Whoever wrote this review, I salute you for spending 1 year in the company. I actually was aiming to spend 1 year in this job, but I didn't really make it for various reasons, which I will probably dive into in the future. All they care about is sales and money. They definitely do care a lot about sales and money. I wouldn't say that's all they care about. They also care about, you know, safety, security, first aid, things like that. But those are the top priorities. Sales and money, safety, security, things like that. Not necessarily the cabin crew. I would say there's little tweaks that they've made to care about cabin crew more, but I think it's not really caring about cabin crew. I think the tweaks they've made were to attract more cabin crew. For example, making the training course free. That has attracted more cabin crew. But when you attract those cabin crew, it's not necessarily caring because they don't really care for you once you are in their care. You know? So once you join the company, while you're on the job, no free water, no free food. So yeah, I would say they definitely do care more about attracting the cabin crew and not really taking care of them once they do start the job like other airlines. This is just me comparing Ryanair to another airline that actually recruits people and makes sure their staff are fed, taken care of in different respects. All they care about is sales and money. I think the reason is because, you know, sometimes the flights are super cheap and they need to make profits somehow. So that's why they really push you as cabin crew to make sales. There is a target that you need to reach every single flight, a sales target. So sometimes if the flight is long enough and, for example, you haven't hit that target with the first service, then the cabin supervisor might make you do a second service so you can make more sales, make more money. And then, of course, if you have enough time, you're definitely going to be doing a duty-free service as well, because you don't always do a duty-free service. Sometimes, not always, especially if the main food service takes too long. Sometimes you just end up not doing a duty-free service. Not always, but actually in most cases you do. Money is definitely an important factor in this company. You can only call in sick 3 times per year, which is insane. I'm not exactly sure on the rules with calling in sick at the moment, but I guess if they were in the company for a year, they would know. I did call in sick a few times. I was terribly sick with the flu, and they say you shouldn't fly when you have blocked ears, and I had my ears were blocking when we were flying. That is not good because your eardrum can get damaged if you are at high altitudes. If you have a cold, if you have a flu, then definitely don't fly. Don't make your colleagues sick and don't make yourself even sicker and damage your hearing. The reason I got that flu is because when I was flying as just a normal passenger, we were made to wait outside for like, is it 20-30 minutes, just wait in a bus for like quite a long time. So that's the reason I got that flu. I actually got that cold at the airport. It was really tough. I had to take like nasal drops just to be able to breathe. It was really tough. Another time I called in sick was because I was traumatized about something that happened to me outside the terminal building, which I haven't told the story about yet. Yeah, it was not very nice. I think it's not good if you're only able to call in sick 3 times. It's not really fair. What if that sick day is just 1 sick day, you know, and you literally just need it to recover. You need it to recuperate, and then you're back on the job, especially since they have so many staff. I mean, obviously I would understand if it's excessive, but when you're limited to just 3 days or 3 times, that's just no. Imagine you wear tights, heels, skirt, and not even a proper jacket. You only get a raincoat even in winter, and if you want a winter jacket, you need to purchase it for $40. Well, I can confirm that it definitely costs more than $40. I'm pretty sure it's about 50 euros for that winter jacket, but obviously I've not been in the job for a while, so I don't know exactly how much it costs these days. But yes, you do need to purchase your own winter jacket. A rain jacket is not appropriate for winter. Obviously you get sick a lot. It depends on who you are. It depends on how you dress. I think I mentioned before that you are allowed to wear a black scarf, but you have to tuck it underneath your raincoat. If you have a black scarf, imagine how thin it has to be in order for it to fit underneath that raincoat with buttons which go up to here. It's really difficult to fit that scarf underneath a raincoat, but they want it to be invisible. That scarf is not going to be giving you any protection if you wear a thin one. I literally had to wear a thick scarf because otherwise I would get sick. I would have had more sick days. I really can't expose my neck, my chest. I can't put myself at risk and then you complain that I'm calling in sick. I think they definitely need to loosen up on that rule and allow people to wear the scarves that they need to wear in order to keep warm. If you call more than 3 times, they keep threatening you and calling you for meetings. I can confirm that is true. If you call in sick too many times, sometimes they do make plans to fire you. They call you all the way to Dublin, to the head office, have a meeting with you, and then they threaten you, basically warning you that if you call in sick anymore, we will fire you. Or sometimes what they do is they fly you out to Dublin to fire you on the spot with immediate effect. I'm not saying that a person should never be called for a meeting, for a chit chat, to be informed and to be encouraged to do better, but I think sometimes they might not give a person a chance to explain the reason why something has happened. And I guess that's kind of where the other person was coming from, that you are not considered important. This review actually just reminded me about those meetings, how they call you up to Dublin to get fired or to get a warning. The review also says something about worst airline company, worst conditions for employees. I think what they mean when they say worst conditions for employees is that they are saying worst as in like in comparison to other airlines, because other airlines seem to provide better working conditions. And I already talked about this. Ryanair doesn't provide certain care for their employees, and you know, the employee turnover is high, and that is for a reason. So that's the reason why a lot of people might consider this airline to be the worst airline company, as I'm reading. But some people genuinely really enjoy the job. Like, some people really enjoy the conditions. They like the stability of short haul flights, always being able to come home. If you have the right setup, maybe you're at the right base and you really do enjoy the aviation world, it could be something that could grow on you if you're willing to make those sacrifices. But on the other hand, as some of the reviews have stated, it's not so great at the same time. It really is all about your personal situation. Okay, so I hope you've enjoyed this video of me reading out Ryanair reviews and confirming if some of the statements are true or false. I hope some of the things that I've explained have given you more of an insight. What I'm really doing this video for is for you to make a more informed decision. Of course, if you would like me to share more of my deeper personal experiences, just let me know and I will try to rustle up something, a video which I feel like would share that information. I guess by me reading out other people's reviews and opinions, my commentary is sharing at the same time in a way. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed that. Please do give it a thumbs up if you've enjoyed it. Subscribe if you've not already subscribed, as well as turn your notifications on so you know exactly when I've uploaded a video, and I will see you in my next one.